Hey everyone, thank you so much for tuning in. Okay, so you're watching Watch This, where I discuss film and television reviews as well as screenwriting tips for beginning writers. Today we're discussing All Dirt Roads Taste of Salt. If you would like to know my thoughts, my review, stay tuned. So jumping right in, initially when I saw the trailer for this film, I didn't necessarily know what it was about. I knew that, of course, it followed a young girl, a young black girl that lived in the South. It followed a little bit of her family, and then also there seemed like there was going to be like some type of love interest, romance inside of this film. So those were like the key elements that I kind of got from the trailer, but I had no idea what this film was about because it was kind of very um it had a lot of mystique about even when I was watching like different interviews and things like that. They just it was like we didn't know what this film was about. So I got a chance to watch this film at the Landmark Theater in West Hollywood, and it came out in November. That's when I saw it. I missed the Q&A with Raven Jackson, but I got a chance to see it in theaters, and um, it is currently out right now on video on demand. So if you have like Amazon Prime or any type of streaming device, you can go to watch it there. I believe it's like $19.99, but I was able to watch it again because this is a film that I really feel like it's good to watch it more than once because first and foremost, the film is not in order. So, like I said, we do follow the protagonist, which is the character Mackenzie, aka Mac. We follow moments in her life that I believe that kind of shaped who she is, but it also followed it. There was, I want to say, three different things that I got from those moments. It's not in order. We have one moment where she is in, I would say, like grade school. Then we have a moment where she's a teenager. Then we have moments when she's like a full blown adult. Then we have moments where she's an infant. And none of these are in order, but somehow, some way, it makes sense. Even though they're like not in chronological order, the way it's done, the memories that are shown, it's done in a way where you can understand the full premise. And the premise in itself is a very, I would say, something that a lot of Black people, not a lot, I don't want to say a lot, but this is something that does happen in Black communities, and then it tends to be hidden in the South. Um, and I want to like, this is no spoiler review, but yeah, I know I'm kind of rambling, but I'll come back. So there were a few themes that I saw in this film. Number one, like I said, memories. We get flashes, the flashes of scenes that I believe shaped Mackenzie's life to be who she is today, and the decisions that she made. We can see possibly a little bit of why she made the decision that she made. Um, Two, we are able to see, I would say, four generations of Black women, their dynamic with each other, and how that also shaped Mackenzie's life. So we have the relationship with Mackenzie and her mother. We have the relationship with Mackenzie and her grandmother. And then we have the dynamic between Mackenzie and her sister Josie, their relationship, and then we also see the relationship between Mackenzie, Josie, and then also Josie's daughter Lily. So like we see those multiple generations of black women in this family. Also within that of seeing that dynamic with those women, we also get the element of the relationship between we get a glimpse of like the dynamic between Mac Mackenzie. I'm gonna just call her Mac because that's what they called her in the film. Mac and her father. We see their relationship, their dynamic. We also see the love story or glimpse of it between Mac and Wood. And this movie is very true an ode to the South because it is, and I say this respectfully, it is slow. It takes its time. Whenever we are on the opening scene, we are sitting on these characters for longer periods of time than I think a typical director would do. Like for instance, like we see the way that it opens up, we don't even see faces. We see hands. And we sit on those hands and it's very slow, but it's very tender and it is calm. For this to be this is a dramatic story. There was not one argument in this. There was no shouting, no arguments. It was a very tender story, but it had a lot of emotions. Like there were so many scenes. I would say like three that really stuck out to me. I'll say no, there was more than three, but for sure three very emotional scenes. And they took their time on it. So it was no way for you to like kind of like jet to the next scene. No, they took their time on it where you felt the emotion and you felt like there is some type of conflict here. But although these people aren't yelling, I can feel their conflict. I can feel their pain. And it was like very emotional. Um, like there's one scene between Mac and Wood where I'm just like, Jesus. I was like, these actors are acting. There was no the dialogue was so limited. And you just got emotion. That's all you got. And I'm just really shocked at how there was no arguments in this film, but this was a full on dramatic story, which is very is it was like eye opening. Like you can have drama without an argument, but you just have to have a solid story. Also, the secret. There's a big secret in this film that is revealed, and it is done very tenderly. And even though it's not a chronological order. And when I say chronological order, I'm thinking about like similar to Moonlight. Like, you know, we have Chiron when he was little, then we have Chiron, and then we have Black. Like, you see no, this is not like that. It's all over the place. So, in all of the chaos of like seeing each moment of Mac's life and how it was important, you you still have this main storyline in between them. Now, I will say that it's beautiful. It's beautifully done. We have so much backstory that we don't know, but these main key moments are what shaped her life and what showed us why possibly she made the decision that she made, why this secret is a secret. And yeah, like it was brilliantly done, very brilliantly done. I will say, yeah, like the South was definitely a pivotal key element in this story with the slowness and like there's no hustle and bustle. We hear a lot of nature, which this also, I've been saying this for like a couple years now. And it really like, I've been thinking about moving to the South. And I don't know, I've been really thinking about it. And there's another documentary that just came out. I will put the title of it here because I can't think of it and I don't want to like start looking for it and take up too much time. But it's on Max and it's basically about how a lot of blacks are remigrating back to the South. So I thought this was like a beautiful ode to the South. Um, the the little routines, or I don't want to say routines, or like just like rituals that are done, like going fishing and eating the red uh, dirt clay, like the red clay, eating that, which is a very southern thing, also that black people tend, some blacks tend to do. I know they like to say like, and if you like look into this, I know I'm like right. If you look into this, like it tells you like there is a Western, there's certain tribes in Africa that actually did this, and this was something that was passed on from enslaved people that continue to do that. So when you see certain people in the South that do that, it's not just they doing it because of, people call it like the disorder. Like I know a lot of pregnant women would like to eat dirt. I forget what the name of the disorder is called. I don't even want to call it a disorder, but this is something that was done tribal within African communities or tribes, and it was like something, a tradition that specific Africans that were enslaved continued to do in the South, which I think is very interesting. But yeah, I'm trying to think if I didn't touch on anything else. Oh, I read the script. Sorry if you see anything flying, because in my last video I saw like little gnats. I have added quite a few plants in my home, and I haven't quite transitioned the soil out to leca, which I really want to do. But my plants are doing so good, and I have a huge plant above me on my bookshelf that has like, it's doing so well, so beautifully. The vines are very long. Um, and I don't want to like mess with it because it's doing well. But also I need to figure out how to get rid of, I have the little sticky things where the gnats, like the little, it's like the little gnats that attract to the moisture of the soil. Uh, they kind of get on there, but I need something else. So if y'all have plants and y'all have any type of recommendations of things to use, I even use this other spray that I found a little concoction for it, and I've been trying to spray it around, but I don't know if it's working because I still see little things. But anyway, um, yeah, like I read the script, and this, what, I didn't read the final draft, but I read like the seventh draft, I think it was, and that script was beautiful as well. There wasn't a lot of dialogue, but there were moments that were taken out, and that story made a lot of sense to me because there were moments where, I'll give you an example. There was a moment, there was a moment where when Mac was a little girl, her mother was walking around. She had on panties, and there was her puberty. Basically, Mac was like born, I want to say, in the probably late 70s, in the 80s, and I want to say 90s. That's when she was like a teenager to an adult, and then 2000s. It felt like she was a full-blown adult. But this was like all over the place. But I could kind of tell the era because of the clothes and the cars that were being driven or whatever. But there was a scene where her mom had on panties, and then the baby, she was like a little girl, probably like a toddler. She like pointed to like her pubic hair, and her mother was explaining like, this is hair. And then the daughter like pulled on it. She was like, ow, like you can't do that. But she let her understand like what this is. She didn't say, oh no, don't touch this, don't. She kind of explained to her what it was. And I thought that that was like, those are moments where you kind of learn things, hidden things that people don't really talk about. And I thought that was interesting that she put that in. There was also the scene, which it is a scene inside of the film, but they took this out. The scene in the script that I read was, there was a scene, and this is not really a full spoiler, but it was a scene where um I think her name was Ebony. Her friend asked her like, have you ever kissed before? And she was like, Mac was like, no. And she was like, not even on your hand. And then the girl teaches her how to kiss, and I believe they actually kiss. And I thought that this was like a very innocent, like they weren't, I don't know, it was just like a very thing of like when people explore things, but it doesn't necessarily, it's like children exploring, but it's just like, it's just exploring. It doesn't have a full meaning on it. Uh and I think I know why they took it out, because it would have been pushed back. That's what I feel. Um if I remember correctly, that was what was in that script. It was another scene as well, I'm not gonna mention, that was in the script that was very honest. It was anything wrong, but it was just like a very honest thing, that it will be a glimpse in your life that you possibly see that these are little hidden memories that are deep in your mind that nobody knows, but they are memories that stick out in your life. Now, one thing I will say, the reason why I wanted to rewatch this over is because there was a scene where, and this is in the trailer, that they're watching a house burn down. I thought that that was their house, but when I read the script, it was not their house. And I was wondering, like, why did they put this in the film? What is the correlation between Mac, Josie, like their sister, and this wasn't their house, this was their neighbor house. But what I imagine, and what this makes me think about these flashes of moments, you ever notice how like something like really important or significant happens in your life, and then you also align it with like an incident that happens, like for instance, like 9/11, we all can all say like we know where we were and when 9/11 happened, and then this also happened in my life, da 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 da. Well, I think they did a great job with the transitions, like the transition, like I explained about the girl teaching her how to kiss. That was a transition moment that I think shaped her life. And then this scene where they saw the house being burnt down was also a transition moment that I believe she linked it to something else that happened in her life that was very tragic. So this tragic thing happened in her neighbor's life, but it also happened around the time that something else tragic happened in her life. So I thought they did a really great job with the transitions, because at first I didn't understand like why was this put in? This wasn't their house. It got burned down, but it makes sense now that I rewatched it, and I was like, oh, this is something that she saw in her life that was like also this house burning down, but then also something happens to her that she experienced that was very traumatic, that she can link the memory, like this happened and this happened. So we just see in flashes of memories of Mac's life, and I thought it was very beautifully done. And yeah, I highly recommend checking out All Dirt Rules Taste of Salt. Very great film. It is slow. Um, It is slow, but it's tender slow. It's not like slow, like, why am I watching? It's not that. It's very Southern. Like, the South is slow. You're not hustling and busting it in the South. You're taking your time in the South. It's calmness, even with like the nature that you hear is very soothing. And yeah, it's a great film. So I know I've been like, all of the reviews that I've done have been like, I love this film. And it's because I tend to like, if I'm interested in something, I'll go watch it, and I tend to, it it's good. But I really want to challenge myself to go see films that I'm kind of like, oh, I wouldn't really go see that. So I'm gonna be better at doing that. I think the next film that I'll probably do, I have tickets for the Book of Clarence. I have tickets for Origins, which is all films that I'm interested in seeing. But I know that they put Saltburn on Prime, so I'm going to check that out. I'm going to check out some other films. And I am going to start to incorporate screenwriting and episodic tips. I submitted to the Blacklist at the end of the year, and I got my review. I feel good about my review that I received, and it was very helpful. So I think I'm going to also discuss that in the next video. It probably won't be the exact next video because I want to sit down and really go over some things about the Blacklist. So if anyone is interested in submitting to the Blacklist or want to know the process of it, or and what the reviews look like, and how they kind of margin out uh, grading your script, I will definitely do that. So that concludes this review. I hope you enjoy. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and let me know in the comments if you checked out All Dirt Road's Taste of Salt, if you liked it, if you didn't, what are your opinions on it. If you're going to check it out, I would really love to know. But I will check you on the next one. Until then, peace.